The sensational story is that this guy got together with this girl, she got pregnant, and as soon as he found out, he left. Is that really what happens? By now we know that face is really, really important. So first and foremost, let me ask you guys a really honest question. When you're hearing the story from this Filipina, do you really think she's going to give you the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and nothing but the truth, and nothing but the truth? Welcome back to Richie Rich Abroad. I'm your host, Richie Rich.
And this is Chang.
Today we're going to get into a topic that's been stirring up a lot of heat online. Even in our comment section where relationships are often talked about, there's a lot of comments about this topic. More and more, I see a narrative being pushed that are claiming that Filipino men in general are irresponsible, immature, and worst of all, this accusation that so many of them abandon their partners after pregnancy. I want to get into this a little bit. Maybe there's some truth to it, maybe not.
That's a heavy accusation. And while I'll be the first one to say, yes, some men in any nationality act irresponsibly, we need to hit the pause button before we label the entire demographic. So today, I stand behind Filipino men because in my experience, I think that there are a lot of Filipino men who are very responsible. We want to respectfully break it down to you, clear up some misconception, and offer a more balanced perspective in Filipino men when it comes to relationships. But of course, before we do, don't forget to hit the like, to subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get updated on our latest videos.
And leave your comments below. We're definitely going to want to read these, and I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch.
Yes, we would love to respond.
Stay to the end of the video because I guarantee you already there's a ton of bloopers.
We already had a first one.
We had several first ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Ching, kick the intro. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Going by trike. Here we go. I want to make it very clear that this is not about attacking Filipinas at all. It's about addressing generalizations, understanding root causes, and hopefully building better conversations around love, accountability, and culture. So in coming here to the Philippines, I hear a lot of women that tell me that the reason they like foreigners is because Filipino men are so irresponsible and foreigners are more mature. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But look, let's be objective here. From the Filipina side, how do you feel about that?
I feel that, as a Filipina myself, I've witnessed like men that I know are very responsible when it comes to supporting their family. Let us not generalize that all Filipino men are the same. No, so they're not the same. There are men who are majority of the population of the Filipino male are very responsible. So
just the same, let's not generalize that all Filipino men are good guys either, right?
You're exactly right, and you get a point.
The sensational story is that this guy got together with this girl, she got pregnant, and as soon as he found out, he left. Is that really what happens? By now we know that face is really, really important. So first and foremost, let me ask you guys a really honest question. When you're hearing the story from this Filipina, do you really think she's going to give you the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor. This topic was brought about by a subscriber.
I'm not judging, but I've met so many Filipinas who are single mothers, and I hear the same story. Never got married, but somehow, some way, she got pregnant and the guy left.
Yeah, for some reason.
For some reason, he just up and left. He couldn't take the pressure. She got pregnant, the guy left. I started finding out that if I poke a little bit and ask a few more questions, you start to get a few more answers. You start finding out that the guy she was with was already married and she knew it. You start finding out that the guy she was with, she only knew for 1 week or for one night.
Yes.
What?
But these are not things that she's going to tell you because face is a really big deal over here.
Yeah, and unless you ask more questions, like just what you said, you poke, and so you can get some juicy details or some juicy information.
So especially for the foreign guys that come here and you hear the spiel from the Filipino woman that you meet who might have a kid or 2 kids or whatever, but she's a single mom and all that stuff, and you ask her about her children's father, just remember, you're only getting one side of it. Just one side. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's not. But just remember, there's 3 sides to every story. Yeah. Hers, his, and then the truth. My second point is this. Fellas, by now, all of us have learned that 70 to 80% of the breakups are initiated by women, not the men. If I only knew you for 2 days, or for 1 night, or for 1 week, or 1 month, and one day you're suddenly pregnant because neither of us were responsible enough, I'm not the most motivated person to stick around. I certainly wasn't ready to marry you anyway when I only knew you for a week, or 2 days, or 1 month. I wasn't ready to marry you. And even if he sticks around to be the father of the children, remember that a lot of women out there are going to get really butthurt because he doesn't want to be with them. Do you think she's going to tell you he didn't want to be with me? Do you think she's going to tell you I left him because he didn't want to be with me? You think she's going to tell you that? Or do you think she's going to tell you I got pregnant and he ran away?
I think she'll more likely to tell you that she got pregnant, he's irresponsible, he ran away.
That dirty, rotten bastard, right?
Yeah.
He just up and ran after we were together all that time for the whole 2 weeks. Right?
I mean, what do you expect from a man? Like, for example, you started with a one-night stand, and then you find out quick that, you know, he doesn't have a job. You already decided to give it to him without knowing, without background checking.
No background checking, but he's dropping loads into you, and you're telling him to drop loads. And then suddenly, you're surprised that he doesn't want to stick around when you've known each other for that whole 2 weeks, or 1 month, or a few days. But that dirty, rotten bastard, he up and left me the moment I got pregnant.
Yeah, so is it really him that's irresponsible, or is it also you that's irresponsible?
Maybe it's him too. Maybe it's him.
It's him, and it also could be you.
That crazy thing, what's that word?
Accountability.
I know a lot of you guys watching this video have heard countless stories from Filipinas. I want you to comment below. Tell me how many of you heard the story that we were irresponsible. How many of you heard that? How many of you instead heard the story that dirty, rotten left me the moment he found out I was pregnant?
Yeah.
I bet you not a single man in here has heard anything else but he left me when I got pregnant. Do you fellas really believe that all of these dudes, all of them,
are very irresponsible.
are that irresponsible, and they're leaving these women because they got pregnant? I'm not buying it.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
I'm just not buying it.
You know, I think that being irresponsible is not a gender thing. It's a human thing that both men and women can be irresponsible. It depends on the choices you make at that given moment.
It is all about choices. It's all about choices. And sometimes we just make bad choices and responsible for those choices we make because we're adults. But again, that face thing here in the Philippines comes into play. We already talked about how women will lie about a whole bunch of, or how women might not tell you the truth about a whole bunch of things, like kids, or like what else?
Their job, their occupation.
About their job, about their family situation, right? So we understand that they will maybe not tell you the truth about those things. What in the world makes you think that they're going to tell you the truth about something that really makes them look bad? I'm not saying that there's no irresponsible men out there. I'm not saying that every Filipino man is super responsible, but I'm definitely not saying that he ain't.
And speaking about being responsible Filipino, or being a responsible father or Filipino father, there are a lot of Filipino fathers who are considered overseas Filipino workers who sacrifice, they leave their family here in the Philippines, go abroad and find a job so that they can have money to support the family left here in the Philippines.
Exactly.
So there are a lot of Filipino men who are very responsible.
And let me take it a step further, because I've talked to a whole bunch of women. I've heard so many women tell me I asked them, well, do the kids get to see their father? No, I don't want him to see his father. I'm baffled and appalled at the same time when I hear that they don't want their child to know the father. I've talked to women that told me, look, I was 30 years old. I was older than 30. I had no opportunity to get married. I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't have no child. I just wanted to have a baby. You'd be shocked how many women told me that before.
That's selfish for me.
It's crazy selfish. But I'm shocked to hear that she just wanted to have a baby. To us men from the West, does any of this sound a little bit familiar?
You know, I just want to elaborate more on my answer, because I think it's really selfish for you to think that when you grow old, you want to have a companion by having a child. You're not thinking, so you are putting this child out in this world without a father.
Without the guidance of a father.
Without the guidance.
Especially if it's a boy.
Yeah. So it's very selfish of you to think that you just want someone to love you unconditionally for the rest of your life, and not thinking that raising him as a single parent will directly affect him as a person as he grows older.
And this isn't to say that you're a terrible person, you're a horrible person, but the decision in and of itself is selfish. It's going to have a lasting effect on your child, whether you like it or not. No matter how good of a mother you are, the decision you make to keep your child away from his or her father is going to have a lasting effect on your child.
Yeah.
And it will be a negative effect.
For example, if I am the child who haven't met my father, I will have this empty space or void in my heart forever. And, thinking that, where is my father? I want to know him, to, fill this gap in my heart. Because you will be forever incomplete without knowing
Especially here in this culture where kids are coming to school with their mother and their father, going to school events, parent-teacher events with a mother and their father. And when that child sees other kids with their mother and their father, you don't think that child's going to have questions?
Yeah.
Of course they are. Of course they are. What are you going to say to them? But now she's got to lie to her kids too, because if she certainly can't tell her kids the truth.
Yeah.
Right? Because guess what? She'll lose a lot of face.
Yeah.
Now she's got to lie to her kids. She's got to lie to you. I hope you're getting the picture that face is a big deal here in the Philippines.
Yes.
Not saying she's a liar, not calling anybody names. I'm just saying face is a big deal here.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely true.
Think about it.
You better believe it.
So in Filipino culture, the men are often criticized harshly for their relationship failures, while the women receive a lot of sympathy and validation because guess what? They all go online and they talk to each other.
I know, right? And it's easy to get sympathy now, especially with social media.
Exactly.
You just go on live, do a TikTok video, and then tell the world what happened to you. And guess what? It's
Everybody
only
believes you.
everybody believes
her.
the woman.
Yeah.
And it's only a one-sided story.
And nobody hears his side. You often only hear one side of the story.
Speaking of kids, a lot of women who work here in Manila, for example, they leave their children at home.
Exactly.
Isn't that abandoning responsibility also? Because you should be taking care of your own kids and do not rely on your parents.
I won't comment on that because that's your culture, and I'll kind of leave you to that one. But I'll say this. I've met many a Filipino women. In fact, more often than not, a Filipino woman I've met has a kid or has kids, and guess what? They don't live with her. They live out in the province with her parents or her auntie or with somebody, but she is not taking care of her kids.
Yeah,
right?
I also find that very, very selfish to a point, to an extent only, because you are working here. It's understandable that you need to support your children in the province, but you are also not really directly taking care of your children, which should be your responsibility as their mother.
Let's draw a distinction. The mother, at least once a year or a few times a year, goes and sees her children in the province. But is that what being a parent is now?
No.
Is that what we're doing now? My grandparents are taking care of me. You're just someone who comes and visits me. You're like goddamn Santa Claus.
Yeah, and
There's somebody who comes
money.
and visits me and gives me money and a couple of hugs twice a year, and that's it. But how am I supposed to look at you like my mama? How is that you being responsible? How is that? I mean, it is different than never seeing your kids. I'll grant you that. But how is that being responsible? How is that you being accountable? I don't know. But I understand that's part of, in some circles here, that is part of it. That's a big part of the culture. Why make the babies if you can't take care of them?
Exactly.
I mean, you're both responsible. It's not just him. It's not just him. I mean, you let him make some decisions up inside of you, right? You allowed that. You allowed him to make decisions inside of you without using contraceptives. So it's both of your responsibility. But look, if you're going to have the babies and you're going to put him on blast, then you take some of that accountability too.
Yes. So, I mean, we're not knocking the women who are working here because you have to make some tough decisions that for you to be able to provide for your children. But when you're here in Manila, for example, and your children are back in the province, you're acting as if you are a single woman and you're here dating here and there. You know, so what makes you a responsible mom if you're here acting single, dating men while your children are there in the province? Now, if you want to date, then let your partner, future partner, that you have kids, you have to take responsibility for the children, and I don't have a lot of time that I can give you because I'm taking care of my children.
Right. And let me be honest. I've met a few women that are like hardcore about their kids, and I got mad respect for those women who prioritize their kids, put a lot of time, effort into their kids, who actually live with their kids and who work, who come home and they're moms and they're single moms and all that stuff for whatever reason. So I mean, mad props to them. But let's talk about the accountability thing, because fellas, I'm gonna challenge any of you again. One of y'all in the comments, tell me about the woman. Tell me about the Filipina who said, you know what, I fucked up. I made some bad choices. You know, I had a one night stand, I got pregnant and we barely knew each other. One of y'all tell me that story. Tell me somebody told you that. I guarantee you, every single one of you guys are going to tell me the story that the Filipina, she didn't want to talk about the kid's mom. And if she did, she put him on Front Street. She put him on blast. She only said negative stuff about him. She didn't have nothing good to say about him. She didn't say he was a good dad. He was a good this, a good that. She only had negative stuff to say about him. Nothing positive. And she's an angel.
She's like the victim. Always the victim.
And she's the victim. Ask questions. Ask questions, because look, you could be next. Ask the right questions and don't believe everything you hear. Keep asking questions. If some shit don't make sense, ask more questions. Watch how she reacts. If you're looking for a lifetime partner, don't you owe it to yourself to have the answers to those questions? When the women leave their kids in the province with mom, with grandma and grandpa, nobody's ripping them. Nobody's ripping them online, but everybody has something to say about the father. But I don't hear nobody talking about the mom. Why is that? Fellas, does this sound a little familiar? A little bit? Just saying. So the last point I want to make is, look, we all understand that there's a lot of pregnancies, especially here in the Philippines. There's a whole bunch of pregnancies that are just not planned, right? But let's be honest, fellas, and here's another question I'm going to ask you. Gentlemen, how many of you have thought about using a condom, tried to use a condom, and she's like, nah, son, you leave that off. You ain't got to strap up with me. Go ahead and drop that load up in here.
Go up and park your car in my garage.
Right? Well, here's my point. There's a lot of women that want to get pregnant, that are trying to get pregnant. Whatever the reason is, she might be over 30 years old. People in her veteran guy are looking down on her. She's embarrassed. She's never been married. She ain't got no boyfriend. She don't have children. Anyway, I digress. How many of these women get pregnant on purpose just to have a baby? How many of these women get pregnant on purpose to lock a man down?
Good
to
point.
lock a dude down, right? This is your baby. I got you. I got you. You don't think that happens here in the Philippines? You know it happens at home. You don't think it happens here? Really? So look, I'm not saying men here don't leave, but is it because he was irresponsible? Or is it because of manipulation? Or is it because of pressure? Or is it because of fear? I don't know the reasons. I can't speak for any of the men here because I've never gotten a woman here pregnant. That's not what we're aiming for, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we're just practicing.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect, right? Just in case.
Yes.
Yeah. So keep in mind, so for the Filipino women out here who say Western men are better, they're more responsible, okay, fair enough. I mean, look, I feel like I'm a responsible man. I feel like I'm a good man. But let's not rip Filipino men in the process. Most of the men that I know are good men.
If you're going to look at other countries, it's not unique to the Philippines that there are men who flee away or they're deadbeat dad.
I believe there's two sides to it, and she has just as much, if not, one could argue even more responsibility. Your body, your choice.
So you open up the portal to the person.
If you're that modern woman and it's your body, your choice, then you made choices, right?
Yes.
It was your body and you made choices. So there's a responsibility that goes with those choices.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth.
This isn't about denying that certain problems actually do exist. Irresponsible men do exist in the Philippines and beyond the Philippines. But look, let's stop pretending that this is something that's unique to only men here in the Philippines.
Yeah. It's like a common stereotype for Filipino men that they flee away or they are not responsible fathers. How can we build a society where both partners are equipped in building love, parenting, and life?
So here's what I want to leave you guys with today. And this applies both here in the Philippines and in my own country back in America, because there's some striking and glaring similarities. If you want better families and stronger relationships, stop playing the blame game. The solution isn't blaming, it's building. Building understanding, building responsibility, building support systems for both men and women. That's how we win. I'm not saying that Filipino men are perfect. That's not what I'm saying. But neither is any other group of men either. None of us are perfect, women or men. What we need is honest conversation. Are we going to get that here in the Philippines? Yeah, probably not.
Maybe not.
Space is really a big deal. If you're a Filipino watching, I'd love to read your honest take in the comments. The key word is honest. Just keep it respectful. If you disagree, that's okay. You can say you disagree, just be respectful, and I'll do the same for you. But if you're a Filipino man out there who's watching our videos, and I know there are some, you're doing your best, you're a family man, working hard, staying loyal, salute to you and cheers to you. You deserve to be seen in a better way than the picture that some people are trying to paint.
So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like, to subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get updated on our latest videos. Leave your comments because we love reading them and we love to respond.
We'll respond. I'm sure there'll be a lot of comments to read, and we'll definitely respond.
Yes. And according to YouTube, the best way to help us grow and support our channel is to watch another one of our videos right after this one. So today, I stand behind Filipino men because... Filipino men.
Okay, let's do that again.
Okay, let's do it again. 3,
3,
2, 1. And bring forward a fuller and offer you a clear up some misconception.
When you're hearing the story from this Filipina, do you really think she's going to give you the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry.
Fellas, by now, all of us have learned that 70 to 80% of the divorces are actually, and fellas, by now, most of us have learned that most breakups, that 70 to 80% of the breakups come from the side of the woman. Come from the side of, how do I say that?
Initiated by women. You're not thinking that you are going to put that child out here in this world without the guidance of father. You know? You killed it?
I don't know. faster, quick.
All right. Let me pause it first.
Mother, yeah.
So let's be better together. We're all in this together. Don't know that? Of course you don't know that. That's High School Musical.
For all those Filipino men out there who are good fathers. So
If you like this video, we got a whole bunch of other videos that are just as good, if not better, so check those out too.
So for all those Filipino men out there who are good fathers, brothers, and sons, we got you. I'm Richie Rich for Richie Rich Abroad.
And this is Chang.
Deuces.
We're out.